it's time to pour the foundation. So today you will see in this episode the foundations being poured, but before they can do that, the picker comes to grab all that dirt and muck that was dug out from the foundations. So in this episode, you're going to see all the foundation work being completed with the dam course, and basically the inspector's been and approved it. So now we can continue to pour the cement and basically start building the walls. However, first we needed to get this muck out of the way. So how much do you think was here? This big truck came with the grabber to basically take all of this away. I was surprised at how much muck it was. And how big this tractor was. So normally up to 3 skips worth of stuff can fit in this. They will come through and pick out all the garbage. I'll give you details about prices at the end in like a full breakdown, so you can see how much this costs. But if you've been keeping up with this episode so far, you'll know I've been breaking down basically different options to help make it a bit cheaper and a bit easier for you to conduct an extension. So if you're thinking about an extension, this may be an alternative. But when they pick up each piece, they do go through it as they lay it in their truck to make sure there's not other stuff in there. For example, if there's wood in there or other stuff like generic waste, they won't take it. It needs to be just bricks and clay or soil basically is what they will take. So they took as much as they could, and the remainder they put into the skip. So everything did not fit. There's about, here you can see in the skip, about 2 scoops went into the skip. Max has come around just to have a look, and right now we have half a bag of sand there. We've got 2 bags full of sand and another half bag sand there. Remember, we had 5 bags of sand. They've used the blocks for the foundations, the big grey blocks. We've still got some blocks here which you can see in front of these. Normally what I do is just have a little record of what's still there in terms of equipment. So you'll see the bricks are here, which is the engineering bricks that they use in the ground layer, and here's the insulation they used for the floor. And Max is just jumping around smelling everything as the inspector needs to. He's more important than the other inspectors. Also, I'm going to give you an update in terms of the architect that we're using. Remember somewhere early on I said we're charging like £3,000. What is he actually doing? But I've been thinking about it, and the inspector did not actually come in terms of like an inspector from the council. The architect is acting as the inspector. So in a way, it's like, okay, in the olden days, they used to be like the council used to come out and check it, but it seems like they've shunned the responsibility onto architects, so no one from the council comes. They can probably still do spot checks randomly if they want to come and, make sure everything's okay. But now taking that into account, I'm thinking, okay, there was fees for the inspector. For the application, there was building regulation fees, and the architect charged some money as well. So maybe the 3,000 wasn't as high as I thought it was, because some of that money would have gone to the application department. So towards the end, I'll give you a breakdown. Remember, we're in January 2024. So this will give you an idea of what the prices are now. They are changing. Things do get more expensive, so keep that in mind. But if you're thinking about doing a small extension in your house and it's fairly straightforward similar to what ours is, then you'll be fine. So on the same day in the morning, the grabber came, took the rubbish away. About an hour later, the cement came. So as soon as the inspector approves, work can continue. So I mentioned this in the last episode. It's just waiting around sometimes for people to confirm things are okay. In the end, I had to send photos and email them photos, and they said, yeah, it's fine. And continue the work. And the next time they're going to come now is when the walls are up and the roof is being put on and the drainage. So there'll be some more inspectors, basically about 4 or 5 times throughout the whole process. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to consider. This is like extra days. So if you're planning this, there's not only the inspectors you need to plan for, you've got materials you need to order, make sure things are available. And coming through, the builder's doing all of this really. All I'm doing is keep an eye on him. So he's ordering the stuff when he needs to order it. He's handling the deliveries and making sure he's there. Even on the day the inspector said he would come, it's normally the day off for the builders, like a Friday they take off. But the builder came and he's waiting in his car in the back just in case the inspector came and he wanted to ask any questions. So where possible, you'll see like what type of builders you have and how they're working, and if they're trying to help out, just do things when they're coming in on their off days to make sure everything's okay, and if there's any questions. So he also waited around for deliveries as well. So when things come, he kind of waits and makes sure that the deliveries are in like a safe place in the back of the house. If it's part of your package, make sure when you're speaking to the builders, you know what they're offering you. So I said, you're doing everything, and they gave me the price in response to that, as in you're getting the material, and when it's their material they'll worry about storage and bringing it in and stuff. If you're buying stuff and bringing it in, then it may not be the same. So you'll see here the cement was being mixed. We didn't get as high tech a mix this time. Same company, but the first time the mixer that came was like a brand new machine. I think they only had it 2 years. This one's like a slightly older design where it's not as fancy as the first mixer when we poured the foundation trenches for the walls that are there. So how this works is, it's a bit weird, but this is what they do. You put foam in the ground in a hole that's been dug. Remember in the previous episode, if you're not following along, I'm basically recording every episode as a diary so you can see exactly what goes into an extension. They dug the hole out in the ground. They put sand down. They put plastic membrane, like a plastic sheet, basically a big one. They put this foam core, is about 150 millimeters, in the ground, and then they're cementing on top of that. So this is acting as like a floor insulation. How many barrels do you think it will take to fill this? They're gonna fill is about 4 inches worth of cement basically, and it's like a runny mix, so it'll take about 2 days to dry. So that's something else. If they had some special chemical to help the cement dry quicker, that would have been a lot more helpful. But they're using the barrel service. They're bringing through the cement and they're putting it on top of this foam. We pat it down and then let it level out basically. So this is part of that process to ensure the floor has damp proof via the plastic membrane as well as the extra concrete they're putting on here. It's a mix in their machine. We used about 4 cubic meters in the end. So figure out how much do you think that is. So overall, this is another expense. And I think, what was it, like £550 for this cement? For this 4 cubic meters, I think. Something like that. So that gives you an idea of roughly what the cost was. The grabber came earlier. They charged £220 just to take that rubbish away. Normally it's about $250 with the VAT and everything, so keep that in mind. These little costs mount up. I'm giving you like a verbal thing of this, but I will do a full breakdown. And also in the description I've got a link to an article. It's like a blog post with frequently asked questions, as well as like things to ask your builder. Should you get an architect? Can you conduct an extension like this on your own? If you have basic skills, is it something you should do? And what's the costings involved? All of that stuff, as well as tips and tricks to ask your builders when you're getting builders. So all of that will be in the description. You'll see that link, and it'll help you with like an article basically with one place for everything. Coming on to this now, you can see that the cement's being poured, it's being leveled out, and there will be an additional thin layer of cement that will go on top of this once things have progressed. But so far this day was waiting for the grabber to come and then the cement guys to come and put cement down. Once the cement's down, there's not really much the builders can do because they need to wait for it to dry. You don't want stuff dropping in there and working around it unless you've got a really big garden and there's space to do other work. But realistically now, the next step's going to probably be they're going to just smooth all of this out to give you like a nice smooth. I like this little platform thing they made out of wood and a plywood, so it works quite nicely. So you reach over and you basically lay it down and just drag it basically, and because it's a watery mix, it kind of brings a nice gloss finish to the top, so you got a nicer, smoother finish. And this takes a little bit of work. And then what's going to happen after this stage is they're going to start building up the walls. So I'm predicting another 2 or 3 days worth of wall building, because it's quite a long wall. It's like 3 meters wide by 6-7 meters. So next time you'll see the brick process taking place. There's 3 pallets of bricks that they have got, and these are the bricks we're using, as well as engineering bricks and the cement mixing. So you're going to be seeing that in future episodes, where you'll see the wall being built up then further to like each layer, as well as the pinning into the existing wall. So that's all going to be an interesting thing to see, because when the bricks start being laid, it's quite quick, to be honest. If you have 2 people working on it constantly, they use these little fancy metal clips. So if you know what this is, let me know in the comments. If not, watch the next episode and I will explain what this is and why they use this in the building of the wall section. And yeah, it's coming together nicely. We're on day 7 now, so day 8, day 9 is probably going to be building, and then you'll start seeing where the door's going to go. So make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and the details in the description will give you information about if you're doing your own project. See you on the next episode, which will show up on screen now.